Changed my mind and decided to go with the rabbit. So now that everything is all cut out and ready to go, the next step is attaching the clay components to the cloth body parts. So you have this big wide opening in the body, and that is necessary to get the head inside of that body easily without stressing the fabric. So the heads all have a little red dot at the center front, and that helps to kind of position it. If you want your head to face forward, it can face a little bit to the side. Once your head is in, you're not going to be able to move it. It's a stationary head, so whichever way it's pointing, that's the way it's going to be. So if you want to try different head positions, what you want to do is put the head inside, and then you get the fabric flush with the edge of the head, and you just tie a string, and then you carefully move this out and see how it looks to you. And sometimes you have to actually sort of partially stuff it to see how it's going to look, but I'm just going to go ahead and go with it and say, okay, this is good. If you want to make sure that it's centered, you can fold your fabric or make a little mark or something like that, because 1/4 of an inch of this fabric is going to be, it's kind of like the seam allowance, it's going to be inside of the body. So we're going to be attaching with wire. Now what you want to do is make sure that all of the edges are basically flush with the edge of the clay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it as close as possible. Then I'm using floral wire, and you just kind of want to find the groove, see where it is. It's about 1/4 of an inch down, and you just, it's a trial and error sort of thing. And of course, once I do it on camera, it never works. So you just do a couple twists, and you're not tightening it yet at this point, and you want to get the fabric so that it's still flush and you can pull and tug if you need to. And then you want to see if the fabric is correctly positioned. So you can pull this fabric back and you'll see where the groove is. So sometimes you'll put the wire like further up closer to the head, and you'll see the groove that you didn't even get it. So you want to move the wire up, which is why you don't tighten it to begin with. So once you have it in the correct position, then you just move the fabric back, and I'm using little needle nose pliers, and you want to give it a couple good twists, and what you'll see is the fabric will go and sit down inside of that groove. And what you can do then is turn your little guy right side out, and if you give the fabric a tug, it's not going to move. Okay, and you'll actually see that it's sitting in that groove when you're done, and it'll look appropriate. So if you turn it right side out and you see the groove, you know that you missed it. So you just get another piece of wire and you try it again. You don't want to tighten the wire too hard, because what that'll do, two things will happen. One, you'll put stress on the wire and the wire will break. Or two, you'll have really strong wire and you'll tighten it, and it'll put stress on the neck and it'll crack the neck. So you want to get it tight enough so that the fabric isn't moving when you give it a tug, and that's all you need. Okay, so I saw there the fabric was moving, so obviously I don't have it tight enough. But you're going to tighten it to the appropriate amount, and that's it, just it. You don't want to go any tighter, because tighter is not better. So once you're done, you just get your edges of wire and you just tuck them inside of the head so that they don't poke anybody later. And then you turn the body right side out, and then we'll be ready for stuffing that. So we'll set that aside. So the legs and the arms are similar, and it's kind of a weird sort of thing. So I designed this pattern in kind of an intriguing way. So we'll start with the leg, and you have your little boot, and this is the front of the leg, and so obviously this is the front of the boot. So what you want to do is put your boot inside, and you kind of want to line up this seam so that it runs along the center line of the boot. And it's the same thing with the head. You want to sort of manipulate it so that the edge of the fabric is aligned with the edge of the clay, like that. And then you're going to get your piece of wire, and see I've kind of gone with my fingernail, which, you know, might be something to use something to, not anything sharp, but just kind of run along it to find that groove, and then you're going to put the wire twisty, 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 which I've done here. And then you can, you'll see that the fabric just kind of goes in and falls into that groove, and it's not going to come out. It's aligned in the center. So then take some wire cutters, trim it off so it's about 1 inch or so, and then just bend that wire over so that the edge, the pointy end, just sits inside that divot. So when we stuff the leg, this wire will be stuck in here and it's never going to come out and poke anybody. Right, so that's what we want. So you just undo the leg, and then you'll turn it right side out, and then that'll be ready for stuffing. Okay, so for the hands, we have the arms here, and you're going to put the hand in so that it is flat along the same plane as the arm. So you just put it in that unsewn area. Yep, can't open it up. So you just sort of feel it to make sure that it's flat in there. You don't want it turned sideways. Okay, so here is the hand, and it's the same thing as before. For this case, the arm is a lot wider than the hand, so you're going to have this extra fabric, but that's fine. It doesn't hurt anything. It's not going to look weird on the finished doll. So again, you know, you find your groove, and then you're going to put the wire, twisty, twisty, twisty. So it's the same things with the foot. You know, you twist it until it's in there, and then you're going to cut this to about 1 inch long, and then you just sort of curve this around until it's just sitting inside of the divot. So then you turn it right side out, and then we are ready to stuff. So I'm going to finish that and talk about stuffing in just a second.